I lied to you. This is not my first game. My first game is called Ibis AM, an immersive sim where you play as a starving bird. It did way better than I could have hoped for, and I am pretty proud of it, but why don't I consider it my first game? Realistically, the game is a walking simulator, with fishing/time management elements, which by all means is a game, but I used this simple premise as a crutch. And because of that, I did not learn as much about game development or programming as I hoped to. So my main goal with this next game is to make something that leans more towards technically impressive, rather than conceptually interesting. So with that in mind, I think a genre of games that I am interested in, and require a great deal of technical funk behind the scenes are cooking games. In this game, you will be a fast food worker, working the night shift, hoping to save up enough money to make it to Antarctica. I started simple, I wanted to flip an egg. This was really easy. I made a cylindrical rigid body with a squashed sphere on top to represent the yolk. Beautiful. Next came the pan, tiny bit trickier. 2 cylinders, one thick and one skinny, great. Bring the 2 men together in one scene, and give them collision. And boom, the pan now holds the egg, lovingly. But now we need to get the egg to flip. Control the rotation of the pan with the arrow keys, control the position with the WASD keys. Nice. I decided to lurk the current rotation and/or location back to the original values. What this means is it eases back to the default pose if you aren't pressing any buttons. And now the egg flips. Damn. I was happy, this was fun. My girlfriend thought it was fun too. Because of this, I think I have gone as far as I need to go for now for the frying pan prototype. My next idea was soup. Or stirring. 2 cylinders again. Except this time, I am using a CSG mesh, which will allow me to cut a hole into one of my cylinders using the other to create my pot from Ratatouille. For the water in the pot I won't be doing anything special at this stage, just another blue cylinder. I am giving the pot collision, but not the water, so objects can pass through. Speaking of objects, I am making rigid bodies again, pretend they are potato. Now let's throw it in there. Potato is cooking. I am adding a spoon now, this will be the thing I control. WASD to move it, so now I can stir. Am I enjoying this? I don't know. Not as immediately fun as the egg was, so let me go a bit further with this idea. How I imagine cooking will happen is once a potato enters the water, it will start heating up, and when you stir it, it speeds up the cooking process. Luckily with rigid bodies you can read the object's current velocity, so I can quickly do something like this. If the potato is above a certain velocity, heat it up quicker, or for prototype purposes turn it red, otherwise, heat it up at a normal rate, represented by white. Let's give it a go and see how we are feeling. Nope, this is not fun. I will keep this idea on the back burner for now. In the future once I start thinking about the actual cooking/recipe system, it may be fun to have a less interactive station that is just about waiting and mixing ingredients. It would add a time management element to the game. This is how most games handle cooking food. Another idea I wanted to play with is chopping ingredients. And oh boy, this one I enjoyed. I started with a table or cutting board, and a knife which will be the thing you control. The knife and move, chop, and also rotate. Okay, now let's get something to chop. I used an instancing method, as that seemed easiest and had the best performance. Essentially when my knife hits a chop point, I delete the original object, and spawn 2 instances of half the object. It works okay and it actually pretty fun, a fair bit of setup/planning on the back end though, so I decided to try another solution, hinge joints, and boy did I like this. It's essentially just tons of small objects attached together, and when the knife touches, delete the hinge. Okay, this was pretty fun, and adds nice variation. Realistically, I should have stopped here. There are a lot of other systems to figure out, but I let myself indulge a little. The obvious next thing I wanted to try was a more complex ingredient. So I made a segmented fish. Hinge jointed the pieces together, and yep, it chops. That's fun, but it can be better. I started playing with impulses on the body to see how the hinge joints would handle it. Oh shit, this fish is jumping and trying to get away. Add more. Oh, this is intense. Oh, I am happy with this. It's fun chasing these guys down trying to kill them. I started having so many ideas for this, like what if a meal required just fish tails, and nothing else from the rest of the fish? Maneuvering these around is pretty fun. Or what about a crab that scurries around before you need to chop its legs in a precise way, and then boil them? Oh, what if I made like a turtle, you chop off its limbs, boil the shell, but fry the fins? Oh, that would be really cool. I am starting to see how these different systems can theoretically be put together.
That's nice, but with these ideas, how will your kitchen function? These are all separate scenes and separate ideas. Time to make some more concrete decisions. I definitely want some sort of recipe system where you fulfill unique orders, so I need access to all of the stations at all times. I set up a rough character controller that can walk and look around, and boxes to represent different stations. I set up a method for the camera. If you hit space inside of a station area, your camera will move to a custom spot set up beforehand. This will give me more freedom per station to play with camera angles. This method works for a lot of things, even talking to characters or something. Okay, that's good. Now I need a method for activating a station, and controlling the station object. I am representing this with simple cylinders that move up when pressing W, and as you can see, I can move it freely without moving the player, and most importantly, not moving anything at the other stations. Okay, great. I am happy with the station system, gives me a lot of flexibility for the future. I quickly set up the frying pan station as a test. This solution is working pretty well. Okay, so this is a good solution for different stations. Now another big one, passing ingredients back and forth. This was familiar territory for me. This is the same concept I used for my first game, which I learned from this tutorial. And with this, I have a rough outline of how my systems will work, and how they intermingle with each other. Obviously, these are incredibly rough and will likely grow and change as this project continues. But my goal is to make a game about fast food, and these are nice building blocks to help get me started. In my next devlog, I plan on fleshing out / finalizing the stations I have made here. I also hope to start digging into the gritty details, like coming up with a recipe, order system, my actual system for detecting whether food is cooked or not, maybe fiddling with an art style, and thinking up some new cooking stations and ingredients. Ouch, okay, that's a lot of stuff. Well, I at least hope to get to a few of those in the next devlog. If you want to see how this shit goes, subscribe. I hope to upload devlogs pretty often, but we will see how this goes. And if you want me to make a postmortem of my first game Ibis AM, let me know. Lots of stupid shit I could talk about with that game that newer game developers should probably see, so they don't make the same mistake.